Welcome to Disclosures with Peter the Insider and Jessica Arael Morocco. The ACIO has a long history of helping humanity from the deep recesses of time. This is the first time the ACIO has become available to the public, aside from an earlier visitation by their 15th Division, the Wingmakers. Peter the Insider, originally from Slovakia, is the director of their 12th Division, and Jessica Arael Morocco is in Cicada 3301, their 6th Division. Together, they provide intel, insights on current events, a deeper perspective on aliens and UFOs, super soldier missions with Unit 374 in the Merge, and news relevant for disclosure. Don't forget to subscribe to keep updated with our latest intel and post any questions and comments below.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today on Disclosures. Today we have a special report, definitely in regard to what happened with ex-President Donald Trump and the incident that happened in Pennsylvania. So without further delay, we're going to go into a discussion with Peter the Insider and talk about some of the things that are going on behind the scenes. And with Peter's higher level of security clearance, he can give us a little bit more of an insight. So without further delay, let's get into it. Hello, Peter.
So I want to say hello to you, Jessica, and to all of our regular and maybe not so regular listeners.
Okay.
Okay. The thing is, or let's say here is, like, what is or what was the goal, the main initial aim of this attempt of assassination? It's easy, huh? To put country into chaos, mayhem, and all kind of situation. And my question is, what do you think? What is or what was going on with this? Because there are two strong organizations. They want to literally take over the power in the country. Okay? We need to name them. We need to describe, or maybe, let's say, we need to describe them to make more in-depth analysis, and what possibly, because if somebody likes it or not, the US is superpower, there is no doubt about it. And what is happening or what will happen possibly in the future for foreign policy and all kind of that stuff. So pretty much now in the power is DARPA, what is abbreviation for Defense Advanced Research Project Agency. Now agency executive is Mrs. Stephanie Tompkins since 2021. So she's pretty much technically, give me a second, technically Mrs. President right now. And Mr. Vice President is no one else than Director of Central Intelligence Agency, Williams Joseph Burns. And I want to, because I lived in US for a few years, but I wasn't born, and I didn't raised in US. You are American, so I want to, let's say, I want to know your insights. What do you think? What will it will be good? It will be bad? Everything pretty much possibly according this topic. What are your insights about this?
Well, Peter, I want to tell the public that you had originally asked me if it was too hot of a subject to discuss, and from my perspective, these people know that they are in a sense of authority. I don't think it's a mystery that people know that these are the powers, whether it's behind or in the forefront of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't see that this was any kind of a breach of security in any way. I think it's pretty evident.
I
Am I
just
right?
want to tell you, that, just by the way, since Yellow Vests, so those people, they just want to get
France.
their own
Yeah.
rights as employees, evident rights.
Mhm.
It was in like late autumn 2018. They formed in France and they worldwide spread it very fast in just few months. And
Right.
this protocol was, I mean, let's say it is the latest security protocol, especially applied for US, and it never was like that before in the history.
Explain that.
Long story short, if something like that happened, that there is a campaign for presidency, one of the candidates is shot or something like that, not necessarily killed, but try for assassination or something. And for example, the situation as JFK, let's call it JFK situation, okay? No. Nothing like a vice president will be automatically president. Do we know rest of the drill? No. This is not longer as it was in 60s. Since 2018, those two people are in power officially. Pretty much.
So
I mean, give me a second. I don't want to say officially, but it's secret protocol. So there is still president, vice president, and all kind of that stuff. But it's like that. So this is vice president right now, and this is president right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is Dr. Stephanie Tompkins.
Yeah. Yeah.
Science applications, technologies. Okay. Yeah.
I was just kind of worried for our listeners, viewers, and listeners. It's you know, I was just kind of worried, a little bit, since you know those are kind of I don't want to say controversial organizations, because all the countries in the world need such organizations, if we like it or not. I think. Am I right?
Yeah, and like I said, I don't think it's a mystery that these people are in charge, because there are decisions that are being made, albeit extremely left. So that must be in agreement with how what the CIA feels and what DARPA feels. However, like I said, that the nation's not crumbling. We're not completely abandoned by leadership. And if Joe Biden was completely in charge, as the implication of him carrying that office, I think that there would be a lot of disrepair, a lot of tearing down of structures and mayhem and severe craziness. So there's obviously someone pulling the strings, and there is a control system and someone making decisions behind them.
But it never was like that in the history. Never, like before.
Right. Right. Something has definitely shifted. So what was the former protocol? So if like Ronald Reagan there was an attempted assassination. What happened afterwards?
Afterwards, they've got, let's say, there was a drill, so let's say special protocol activated, like for example, we've got the martial law and all kind of that stuff, in certain occasions, under certain circumstances, and the security countermeasures went much, and I mean like much more strict after that.
Right. Yeah, and then of course, yeah,
but it never led to this. No, and I'm like, because I knew that for very first day, pretty much, once they agreed about this protocol, and I was like, what in the world is wrong? Something wrong will happen. And then we know, I'm just
trying
saying.
to think that I think they initiated Homeland Security. I know that was later, but yeah, it was kind of a progressive process of cracking down. But on the other hand, you see that conveniently there are certain things that are coming through, so with the sniper situation, there were 2 snipers there that were for security.
Yeah.
And then there was the agent, was it, or I don't know, we'll say agent, because you said, we'll let you introduce that part, but it was Thomas Matthew Crooks. And you said that he
still is, and that's the problem. They deliberately lied, and they are lying that he's dead, what is not true.
Okay.
Okay, I will say, okay, I will decapitate you, okay? Or, okay, you will get injection, you will get electric chair. Okay, go. Because I know that he's not dead. He's not dead.
Because
it is mutual interest of CIA and DARPA to get in charge. I need to say it loud. Who the heck? People as honest citizens, honest inhabitants, and people, they are, they follow all the rules, all the laws, they are paying taxes, living in US. They should know the truth. They deserve to know the truth. It is their right.
You told me that Thomas Matthew Crooks is part of the shadow group and he's working with John Lynch.
That's true. And that was the initial reason not to kill. That was the initial reason, or let's say the initial, like, plan not to kill, just to injure. Because if it will be, let's call it JFK scenario, that will be bad. And Alan Binseka pretty much, just by the way, was there himself. And if they, aka snipers from FBI and MIC, that means Military Intelligence Corps, it's something like CIA but for military, like mixed CIA and FBI and SA for military. Binseka was like, okay, if they will shoot you, these young gentlemen, I will kill all of them. That was initial plan of Benseka S and this 20 years old man. 20 years old man. Yeah, that was initial plan.
According to the news and a few different newspapers or channels,
Yeah.
they had mentioned that the snipers had a full view of this shooter that was on top of a roof, and they could have seen him. They said that there were people in the crowd saying, look, there's someone over here, and he's not in uniform, right? Then they waited for him to shoot before they shot him.
And this is
especially
exactly
when they saw him get up and then, kind of get into position.
But
When
give
they
me a
saw
second.
him do
But give me a second. This is what I'm talking about. It is way too obvious that it was a setup. It was a setup.
So this brings us all back to the JFK scenario where.
But give me a second. Not exactly JFK, because in this case, pretty much yesterday's case, the initial plan was not to kill, only to injure.
Mm-hmm.
This is a big difference, very big difference.
Right, because they did full assassinations during that time with Robert Kennedy, JFK, and Martin Luther King.
Yeah. Oh, just by the way, yeah. Okay.
No,
Yeah.
they did Malcolm X too. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, Malcolm X. Yeah, you are right.
So we know that the government deems some people dangerous, not dangerous. I don't know if they consider someone like myself as being a problem just because I talk about it. But I don't.
Of course, you are worldwide threat just because you.
But I mean, it's me and probably a million other people that kind of know it and see it, and it's pretty obvious. And I think that it can give them a little bit more if anything, we're helping them to step out of the closet, so to speak, and say, yeah, we've been controlling things for whatever that they want to say for the well-being of the people or for the safety of the people. I don't know. But at this point, for them to feel like they have to hide that part of it, yeah, we didn't vote for them. Nobody really asked to put them in office, but they would be under a guise of security, I guess, a high level security.
You can bet that you are goddamn right.
Yeah. And the whole thing is there's a lot of stuff going on around Donald Trump, and we know, obviously, like I've been saying for years, there's no possible way Joe Biden's running anything. I mean, he clearly has mental challenges through whatever illness, Alzheimer's, whatever it is. I mean, I guess I think they were even speculating that he had some other type of illness, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, age is a factor in this, and
yeah, you are right, and it's easy.
Yeah.
I don't want to say, nah, I hate this guy or this gentleman. No, it is a natural process of aging, and all of us can end up just like that. I'm just saying some people pretty much should step out of run, for certain such important, positions in the world. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, they do that with corporations. They do that with the police force. They would do that with any other type of professional service. So that's why.
Give me a second. It's normal. It's like, okay, you get old. It is not a big deal. You simply cannot run some such important organization because you simply are too old. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, it's dangerous to you. It's dangerous to everyone around you. So you have to understand that. Most people do, and I don't think he was forcing to keep himself in there. it was enabling them to create this micro government, this hidden government behind, or the shadow government, if you want to call it.
Also called what it is, like shadow state, shadow government.
Yeah, yeah.
Or
And
deep state, call it
deep
as you
state,
like.
yeah, which I think you can go even deeper than beyond these two individuals if you want to get it further into deep state, right?
No, I understand, but what I am saying, it is absolutely crazy. And now I talked with Peter Todd, just by the way, and he said that pretty much, he literally said to me, because so only very limited amount of people all around the world know where Slovakia exactly is and all kind of that stuff. Okay, it's true. Okay, we are a small country. I never blame them. Only 5.5 millions of inhabitants in middle eastern part of Europe and all kind of that stuff. And but Peter told me, and it was like 2 or 3 hours before murder attempt on Trump, he told me that it was only something to be prepared for. And I was like, what? What do you mean? What do you mean by that? And I was like, oh my God. And now I get it. So murder attempt on our Prime Minister Robert Fico was only some sort of like, okay, some sort of drill how to do this stuff. It's like not only Czech Republic, but Czech and Slovak Republic. We need to fulfill that.
This part over here, talking about.
Sorry, my bad.
And the Slavic territories of the nation.
And this is so crazy. This is so crazy. Like 2 or 3 hours before it happened. And they literally told me.
So literally, for people that are not familiar with what we're talking about, this shadow group is an elite group of soldiers, special ops soldiers recruited from different branches and nations to form a private sector organization committed to enforcing its own interests and agendas. And presently, Peter Peter the Insider is interacting with Peter Toth, who is running and in charge of the Czech Republic and Slavic territories.
In Slovakia,
right now,
in Slovakia. Give me a second.
In Slovakia, and probably other areas around there as well.
Oh yeah, Poland, yeah, Hungary. They started the Russian-Ukrainian war, and all kind of that crap. Yeah.
John Lynch, aka Martin Burke.
Just by the way, he's cousin of Williams Burns, because he was like, okay, I don't want to be directly connected with Burns, so he changed the surname from Burns to Burke, just by the way.
Right here, and that's why when you see the movie
A-Team,
A-Team, yeah, where you see that he's involved with the CIA.
Yes, you are right.
The movie, yeah, and then he changes, right? So there's another guy that uses his name later. It's very tricky. You have to watch how they do it.
So he's pretty much the nephew of William Burns, and he changed the certain, his surname in certain way. He changed,
So
He's
it's not
certainly.
an association. Yeah.
Sorry, what?
So there's not an association with him.
Yeah,
So
of course. He's a
you don't
nephew,
see
you
the
know. That's
relation.
the. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
But John Lynch was assisting Thomas Matthew Crooks during this mission, you said.
Yeah, you are right.
And then also Alan Ben Secca, who I had seen on a plane when I was traveling, and he kept on
Give
dropping
me a second. He's dangerous. I mean, from all of them, he is most dangerous because, let's say, he's very unpredictable. You don't know what he got in his mind. He's like, mm-mm. It's like if you believe that you start to get what he's thinking about, forget about it. No, you don't know.
I explained being on a plane with him. I didn't know it was him at the time, and he kept on dropping a Coca-Cola, like a can of soda, in the middle of the aisle between us, and trying to get my attention. But like I said to Peter, I mean, he obviously could have done something right then and there, and no one would have even known. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to leave the plane. That's how close I was to him. And then I saw him on the return flight. So then he must have jumped on another flight and went down to Pennsylvania, but he was in the U.S., and I did recognize who he was. And they know we're talking about them.
Yes, and just by the way, you can recognize him very easy because despite he's after heavy plastic surgery from one of his previous operation, or let's say operations. In one of them, he was heavily burned and hit by several bullets into his face. He got big scar, diagonal, all over the face. So this, like, if you don't know where you should look and how you, or let's say which kind of details of face you should focus on, this, like, there is not a big deal because certain people has certain anomalies all over the place. I mean, all over the body and everything. It is not a big deal. But after you've been focused, okay, I need to focus, and it is like, okay, now I get it. I'm just saying, you know what I mean.
When I saw him, his face, he looked young, and he didn't look like he had any scars, but his face looked unusual. Like,
and this is, give me a second. This is exactly what I'm talking about. In order to hide the scarves, exactly as you said, face looks unusual, aka disproportional. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, let's say unnaturally disproportional, like, no, something is wrong here. Exactly, like on very first sight. Nah, something is wrong.
And his eyes are unusual too, and I imagine that it enables him to have good sight, which he needs as a
sniper.
To be as good as a sniper.
Yeah.
So let's see who we haven't seen. We had problems with Roman Barkov about months ago.
Yeah.
This one right here.
And Makarov, just by the way, is new player on the chess game, pretty much, or on the table, pretty much. He's crazy too, and he's having heavily, or let's say huge traffics from the Latin America, I mean traffics of drugs, and or let's say in exchange of latest, the most modern type of warfare, not only like piece of machinery equipments, you know, and weaponry systems, but literally new types of warfare, you know, shells, I mean the huge, you know, ammunition and everything, you know.
And where does Eli Resov fit into this?
Oh, Eli Resov, you know, we need to say it as it is, okay? This community from Middle East, we need to say as it is, from Israel, they don't like actual government. Because despite they pretty much, I mean, US is supporting Israel, they believe, pardon me, they believe that the US caused this big incident in between them and Palestinians in the first place. So instead of helping and de-escalating the whole incident and everything, he wants more tension and everything, and pretty much friendlier, quotes in quotes, Israeli-ish friendlier government. And it's like, nah, you caused the incident. Or let's say the tension. I don't want to say you, but I mean the actual government who is actually at the time in charge in US. So, but what is actually, according to his brother, David Rizal, who is very good friend of mine, just by the way, what is absolutely not true, pretty much. But it's not true, because it is not US interest to make another conflict in the whole region, in Middle Eastern region, because the whole Middle East is pretty much, quote in quotes, drowning in or let's say it is like in tornado, like hurricane of conflicts and constant conflicts since, I don't know, like decades, you know, 4 or 5 decades and so forth. And it is like, hey, now stop. This is not what we should do, because if you like it or not, what is weird, both Mrs. Tompkins and Mr. Burns want to drastically decrease numbers of military personnel, so not only the soldiers and officers, but all the military personnel and military technique, I mean equipment, all around the world, in, I mean, US, you know, army and, you know, soldiers, personnel and everything, army technique, being involved in world conflicts all around the world. Now, they want to decrease that. So that was the, let's say, initial reason why they caused this murder attempt.
So they started to pull away.
Give me a second. According to my information.
So they started to pull away from as a military presence from the Middle East. And that's what you're saying caused it?
Give me a second. Not only from Middle East, from all around the world. They want to stop war in Ukraine. They want to stop most wars in Africa. US is involved in, and all kind of the stuff. And they said, give me a second, politely, to Biden's administration, like, nah, let's say administrations, nah, we need to, quotes in quotes, play it smart, not all guns blazing all around the world like 24/7 nonstop. It's not good idea. We are getting exhausted, you know, and everything. They were politely saying that multiple times without any response. No rational reason. Nobody wants to talk about that with them. Like, nobody at all. Okay?
What's your interpretation of that? If they pull away, do you feel like it's because they don't want war, or is it another agenda?
Definitely they don't want a war, because people don't want wars in US.
No.
Come on people. I mean, come on people, if you walk down the streets in US, no, they don't want war, because, or let's say, their military being involved in vast majority of conflicts and vast variety of conflicts, because if you like it or not, if Americans travel to other countries, no matter that they are normal people, good people, not a big deal, people don't like them in very, let's say, vast areas. Like, nah, why in the world you are here? You Yankees and all kind of this BS, like bullshit, literally, if you like it or not. You know, it's like, you know what I'm trying to say. And people don't like that. And in the first place, you as an honest citizen pay taxes. Most people that they are honest citizens, they are not criminals and everything, they pay taxes. And your taxes are wasted for military, you know, it doesn't make any sense. Instead of being invested into, let's say, healthcare system, I don't know, educational system, for example, you know,
Or the Ukraine.
Or pretty much to build in or improve infrastructure. Instead
where
of
the money's
that,
supposed to for the people, yeah.
and instead of that, not only in Ukraine, not only, all kind of conflicts, hundreds of millions, maybe billions of dollars are like wasted, pretty much. And of course, people, common people, normal people in US, they are upset. So I'm just saying.
But yeah, to be tampering in other nations with wars, policing everything. I don't know how we got into that. And then there's a lot of resentment about what's going on. And I was just reading about what happened in Vietnam and how, I think I brought it up to Michael, how there was a bunch of Vietnamese monks that just burnt themselves because, and they were angry at the Americans for siding in with the government that was oppressing them in Vietnam. And so the traumas that, you know, we don't have the research and the knowledge.
Sorry for interrupting you. And what about Project Rainbow? Most quotes in quotes deadly world famous Agent Orange. How crazy poisonous it is. Project Rainbow, that means it's like rainbow colors, you know, I mean colors of rainbow, and we are talking about extremely poisonous and aggressive chemical/biochemical warfare, chemical compounds, and each of them got certain specific colors, but most worldwide known is also called Agent Orange. It is extremely lethal, you know. Everything is pretty much burn alive, not like burn like with actual flame, but without flames, but everything is dead. Everything, animals, flowers, people, or people like born, or pretty much animals being defective, genetically defective, and everything, you know. I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah. Who allowed something like that to happen in the first place? I mean, you know, becoming a killing field. And then they took that Agent Orange and put it in Roundup, which is supposed to be like an herbicide and a pesticide for people's lawns. So I don't know what was going on there. We had some kind of, obviously we weren't talking at that time. I mean, this happened, what, 1960s, his early 70s. Who was making these decisions? It was almost like a corporation must have came in and started creating experiments on people.
Hey, Jessica,
To
we need to say it loud. We need to say it loud. Umbrella, period. Umbrella, period.
Yeah.
Because they want
Yeah.
to I need to be like impolite. They want to stroke their egos. This is let's say US government ordered this. Nah, it is nonsense. It BS. None of this US government pretty much, you know, ordered. They ordered something what will work as a weapon. But since they started to quote unquote spray those agents, you know, Project Rainbow, they call it Project Rainbow. As I said, Agent Orange is most widely known. They don't know what will happen. Even in military, they don't know. They have no clue because they made, you know, like, okay, you had a contract, do something, create something. They created something, okay? Some, quote unquote, something. But they were in shock. And I talked with military veterans from Vietnam, like actual veterans. And they were
Yeah,
like,
I did too.
Oh my God, what is going on? And just by the way, I know some of them, all of them they are having heavy PTSD, like crazy. And they told me that my buddies, I mean my friends, once they start to spraying that, they will kill them in front of our eyes. And I was like, ooh, yeah, it was exemplar. Like, if you don't follow our orders, and they said the older guys, I mean older generation, they were involved in Second World War, or let's say World War II, and they were saying, do you really believe like that? It is the same bullshit as Japanese did in Sino-Japanese War from 1937 to 1945, and as unit, this, you know, maybe not so many people know that Japanese unit 731, and as officers, I mean Wehrmacht officers, as officers did. And now you will tell me that we are better. I mean, I'm not saying that. I am saying that those older guys said that, you know, to them in 60s and 70s. They were veterans from pretty much Second World War II, you know, and not veterans anymore because they went back to Vietnam, you know. And I was like, oh, that was wild. I'm just saying, you know, that is crazy.
In Japan, was that also the Umbrella Corporation? Just to confirm with everyone.
Of course. Pretty much
1930s.
1930s, yeah. Second half of 1930s, yeah, exactly.
Getting back to our present situation, and I would like to say, I think most Americans
Give me a second,
like
Jessica. I need to ask you something because you are expert in this. You are expert in this field, in astral. Which kind of? It is not human being. I think there is no soul left. If somebody, I don't want to say somebody, something. It is just a vessel. It's not the human being. Will tear living people without any narcosis, you know, tear apart. It is, what the heck? Those people,
What do you mean?
Tear.
What do you mean?
Do you know scalpel? you know, making operations, surgery operations, but not
You
needed.
mean like Murkoff, like what
Yeah,
Murkoff
give me a
does?
second, but not necessary operations after bullet being stuck in the body. No, I mean for all so-called greater good, and this nonsense is like no pain, no gain, and is bullshit, you know.
Experimentation.
Yeah, as Mengele did and all kind of those people, Murkov, you know, and they smiled, you know. This, uh, I don't believe that they are human beings. They are
Yeah, there's a
vessels.
lost in their soul. Yeah.
It is just a vessel.
I well, ETs, certain species find us interesting the way we find maybe animal life or insect life interesting, and they what we do, they do. Our experimentation on different things and examining the world. I guess, just like we are predators towards certain things, but they are our predators. So it's this grander scheme or cycle of the universe. And
Oh, now I understand. Okay, okay.
yeah, I'm not
I
discarding
will tell you
they
something.
won't be in
Okay,
trouble.
I want to ask you something, and because I don't understand it. Who in the world give them permission to make quote unquote clock? Clock thickens, you know. 12D Pleiadians, because they've got their own teams, quote unquote, teams, all over the place. So not only in Milky Way, I mean like our galaxy, but in the whole universe, in megaverses, in dimensions and everything, you know, and multiverses. And they are pretty much quotes in quotes bringing catastrophe, like pretty much Judgment Day-ish scenario. And okay, here is Messiah, you know, nah, screw that. Nothing like that. And pretty much, besides, they created this absolutely weirdo-ish agreement with Intergalactic Council, what I absolutely disagree with this agreement.
I don't think it's not our intergalactic council that they confirmed with. I do have theories.
Give me a
I
second.
can't.
Give me a second. I absolutely agree with you. 100%. Period. End of discussion
Yeah,
about this. Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah,
Sorry.
it's all right. I do have a theory of if I trace some things back in time, because I have had the privilege of being able to peer into through the Akasha and go all the way back. I've had full visions and everything for years.
Mhm.
One of the things that I've seen is that Atlantis, there was an integration into Atlantis. It was a group, which I think it was a 12D, and they started their experimentation with the hybrid humanoid group. Those, in
Uh,
addition to a bunch of grays, and I
Give
think
me
they
a second.
started creating their own council.
Why all the time hybrids?
The
Jeez.
hybrids are the most angry because they don't really belong to a specific group, and they are creating councils. They're
Sorry,
telling
give
everyone
me a
they're in
second. Sorry.
charge.
So I want to. I know it is impolite to interrupt you, but I am tempted to. Okay. So pretty much they are, let's say, stuck somewhere in between, and nobody wants them. Nobody. They don't belong to any sort of. I mean, hybrids. You mean like that?
Yeah,
So
they're angry. They're angry. Yeah.
okay. Okay.
When I find them, I know immediately there's anger. They didn't feel where they belonged or whatever, and there's a retaliation for their existence.
Ooh.
So, and I think that they're part of this Pleiadian group, because the Pleiadians don't all look as perfect and wonderful as people think they look. I mean, I think some of that is a shapeshifter facade. And recently, I had
I will
someone
tell you
contact
something.
me.
I will tell you something, Jessica. Not some of them. 90% of them, maybe 95, who the heck knows?
We're still struggling over this issue that happened in Atlantis, and if you look at the insignia on in Ukraine, and I even talked to someone who was Ukrainian, and they said, "Well, we are connected to Atlantis."
You
And
mean like this main insignia of? No, okay. Do you know what? Actually, you are
trident,
right.
it's like trident, right? That's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
symbol.
The trident. Yeah. You are right. Yeah, yeah.
If you talk to people from Ireland, and Ireland's also been through a lot of turmoil, they too align with Atlantis.
Give
If
me a
you look,
second. Give me a second. I will tell you something. Okay. So the oldest type of empire-ish, state or something. I will tell you something. It is Kievskaya Rus. That means Kiev, you know. That means the capital city of Ukraine, if you like it or not.
they're one of
Okay?
the oldest societies.
If not the oldest one of Slavic nations. If you like it or not.
So
Yeah.
let me just name. So you have Ukraine, Ireland, and then if you go South America, where there's a lot of turmoil, they have the underwater cities. You could see them. Atlantis again.
And give me a
Everywhere
second.
that
What do you think happened to Atlantis, like for good? What happened to them?
one more Bermuda Triangle.
Oh,
Everywhere that there's Atlantis, this turmoil, it's because the hybrids took over and they just created mayhem everywhere they went, and they went back in time, forward
and
in time.
give me a second, because they were angry at pretty much themselves that nobody wants them, nobody likes them, and everything. You mean something like?
Yeah, I mean, it's like they do bad things. I mean, they just do bad things. I don't know what to do with the hybrids. I feel for them, but at the same time, I think that they need to stop. I don't agree with the Pleiadians. I think they just find whatever rogue group will support them. And they've convinced those that the earth needs to be destroyed, kind of like, some of these groups that think that,
Not
we have
only Earth. Give me a second. Not only Earth. Give me a second. Not only Earth. They believe themselves somehow falsely that, I mean, 12 Pleiadians, that they have the only ultimate right to decide, okay, we will bring the problem, aka the apocalypse, what so forth. So pretty much, we create a problem, we bring the Messiah, and we are the heroes of the day. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
I mean,
100%.
am I right?
100%, yes, because they'd love to be the heroes too in the end. They do.
I don't understand this kind of weird schema of weird mindset of them. It's absolutely crazy.
And that this is something that we need to tell them, that we do, just like we don't want to have any more wars around the world. We don't need the Pleiadians deciding for us what our belief system is and giving us any false gods or android gods or anything like that.
Do you know what?
Some like
Android gods there, and you nailed it.
that's scary. That is scary, right? They'll be so smart and so like manipulative that they won't have that conscience. It will hurt so many people. I really don't want to see anything like that. I mean, I am not anti-Jesus. I just want to make sure everyone knows that. It has nothing to do with it, because I do believe Jesus was a divine being and he was here as a visitor. But what they want to bring in is not the same thing. It's not, definitely not. I've seen it. I've seen him on ships. I've seen him with the 12 apostles, literally lined up on ships.
Oh, give me a second. I believe you. I believe you.
Another thing that I thought was really weird, and because since we're going off the deep end regarding the spiritual theories of
No, give me a second.
universe.
We need to make it very strict. If we lack spiritual theory, if we want to call it that way, no, I don't want to say spiritual theory. Let's say spiritual background of it. There is no chance that we will make solid clarification of actual situation for people. And I think you, as an expert in this field, you will say that I am right. Am I right?
Yeah, you're right. Because that's, this is what separates us from someone that's just doing news. We try to bring up some other things to think about that we're aware of regarding anything that is supernatural or ETs or, like you said, hybrids or crossbreeds or androids or anything, any type of artificial intelligence, all of these different components that need to come in from the black background. So you see something on one level, right? So you talked about the state and then the deep state, and then beyond that is the very deep state. And then there's, people might say that there's a hidden group, right? That's collaborating.
Yes, exactly.
Those people with tremendous amount of wealth. And then, but some of them are pretty much ETs that the people are not aware of, because like David Rockefeller, he's walking around. I went to the Bilderbergs in the Netherlands, and I watched him walk up the street with a cane. So, I mean, there's no way that this stuff is, we're talking about some very, very sophisticated things happening. And these are the discussions that we're having. So yesterday, when I saw the shooting and the way that the assassination attempt happened, and it cut Donald Trump's mouth right here, and it gave me a memory of an incident where in around 2016, I went to Mount Shasta, and I had some kind of experience. I came back, and then I was looking at some things, and suddenly I had this full out vision. I was with a bunch of Titans. I mean, we're talking huge, just like walking over me, you know what I mean? Like enormous. And Odin was there, and some of you know that I have a direct connection to Odin, and
yeah.
And I happened to look over and I saw Donald Trump. And I was looking at Donald Trump. Now, this is another reality, right? And his face was changing, and I heard the name Janus, which is Janus, right?
Yeah, and Janus is pretty much like the god of entering and portals and openings. Am I right? Because pretty much, give me a second. That is pretty much from Latin, and that is reason why in English the name of very first month is January. If you like it or not, it's true. And I am kind of in shock. Let's say, I don't want to say shock. I am depressed. Why so many people, I mean from common people, don't believe that the gods, I mean ancient gods of course, that they don't exist, they never existed, people only fake them, and do you know what I mean? Just nights, it's a piece of nonsense. But what is ridiculous for me, it is ridiculous and funny. No, it is not. It is beyond level of ridiculousness and being funny. No, it is bizarre. How in the world is possible that scientific community makes fun from that? And all of them, they are naming their projects, scientific projects.
Right.
What the heck? Artemis, Jupiter, Juno, everything is like, what the heck? It's
so let me finish. The story.
Sorry, I was just kind of sorry for that.
I know you get excited and you jump in.
Yeah, sorry for that.
I turned and looked at him, and I saw it was Janus, and I knew he took something from me. I didn't argue with him, but I looked at Odin.
Do you know what it was?
So now I didn't realize what it was this whole time, but I knew that he became very powerful. Like, he was already powerful, but he became politically powerful. But he also kind of had a lot of enemies too, out of nowhere. And then I started thinking about it. And when I saw that wound from the assassination attempt, I said, I see what he did. He took my aspect, like my previous lifetime when I was Xerxes. And a lot of
Xerxes, yeah, yeah.
so a lot of people will look at Xerxes and they'll say, well, that guy was evil. You know, he fought the 300, the Greeks, he had all these slaves and everything. Yeah, I was not perfect. I did bad things. All of us have done bad things. You know, we've been in different situations. I was like one of those world leaders, but like kind of like that's probably why I was there with the Arbonne. Remember I told you about the Arbonne, and they had all the world leaders there, and it was like some form of mind control. So I was probably under some form of mind control. And you know, the situation is the ETs intervene, and then they have you in a strange scenario. But anyhow, I did have power, I did have abilities, and he literally took my abilities. And one of the things that they said about Xerxes is that they wanted to prove that they can make him bleed, but the guy that shot him ended up getting killed. He didn't get killed. He ended up dying later, but I think that was part of the plan. But I don't think he could readily be killed. And he was extremely powerful and very persuasive. So here again, like I said, when I think Donald Trump got my aspect of Xerxes, the good part is that he couldn't get killed. The second part is they could make him bleed, but they couldn't really kill him. But the other part is that he had a lot of enemies. And I think that plays out.
You got always bad sides. I mean, good sides, aka plus, bad sides, aka minuses. You know, it's like.
And I used to have a pierced nose and the whole like. I'm sure I didn't dress like that. I'm sure.
I mean, thank you very much. Thank you. Okay.
The eyeliner and everything, I could see that because I know that they all did that at that time with the black eyeliner. But I'm pretty sure that they wore some kind of robes or something. I just can't see him wearing that little outfit that he wore. And that would have been, like I said, my lifetime. And can someone do something like that? Well, we're talking about that there's Titans there, and Janus maybe needed to do something. Maybe he needed to change something in our paradigm. And like Peter, getting back to what you said about how these the people Stephanie from DARPA and William from the CIA trying to pull us out of other nations so that we're not policing everyone, not getting involved with as many wars.
But give me a second. I will tell you something. This is not quotes in quotes their will. This is people's, aka like, you know, folks' will, because population, because people don't like what, you know, look. I don't want to say there are certain parts of the world Americans are very popular because of pop culture and everything, modern stuff. But if you go to another parts of the world, don't try to tell someone that you are American, because it will be quotes in quotes bad news bears.
Yeah, I know someone asked, I was overseas and they said, is she English? And I said, yeah, they said, no, they're American. She's American. I said, tell them I'm English. Because they'll probably like me more.
No, give me a second. No, they will not buy it. They will not buy this story. You don't have English accent. You don't have English accent.
But when some languages, some people in some countries, they can't tell the difference. But anyhow.
I will tell you something. Do you want? If you are talking not with somebody who literally was born in UK and bought Australia and New Zealand, they are the closest one. But if you go, for example, to India, I swear to God, to India, you will be in shock how close they are. Accent-wise, to UK, to England. No, I swear to God, it's like, woo, this is wild. What is going on here?
Yeah, they learned proper English. over there, as
Yeah.
opposed to the United
Because
States.
without proper English, there will be no business opportunities for them at all, if you like it or not.
Yeah.
Going back to misinterpretation of ancient gods, what about beings? Supernatural beings, like as you said, fairies, jinns, demons, as you call them, titans, or like all kind of another, you know what I'm trying to say, trolls and everybody, or let's say gnomes, call them gnomes. Yeah.
Gnomes. Okay, we don't pronounce the G, but yeah.
Gnomes, okay. It is so weird. It is so weird.
We have many layers of civilizations.
And I
That's
will
what
tell
it
you
is.
something, especially if you are working as a miner deep down under, gnomes are helping you. And so many people like, nah, it's nonsense. Gnomes doesn't exist. And I was like, okay. So from your point of view, gnomes doesn't exist, okay? Nah, no, they doesn't. So go with me and I will show them. And just because of their proud, do you know what I mean? Just because of that, they don't want to go. Do you know what I mean? Deep underground. No, they don't. It's such a nonsense. Sorry, yeah.
I think it was at the Celts or one of the groups when they used to do a lot of tin mining, and they called them the knockers.
Yeah, or
The
scopes, for example, those huge ones. It doesn't make any sense why. I don't want to say I believe everything, okay? But me working what I'm working in, or let's say where, I am not that kind of skeptic, okay? And those kind of
everything.
Sorry, what? Go ahead.
You see everything, all spectrums of supernatural, unexplained things.
Yes.
That's what the ACIO does.
Yes.
It's like people refer to us as sort of like a MUFON in a way, but much older, and we have a lot of stronger ET connections.
Yes, but give me a second. Why in the world people are disrespect? Sorry, I can't say this word. This word is crazy. Kind of disrespectful towards ancient god, or let's say gods, because there are plenty of them, and to, let's say, supernatural beings. I mean, like, they exist no matter if you believe or not. No. Just because you don't believe on them, they will not stop exist. It's ridiculous.
Well, people worship them for a reason, because they showed themselves at that time, and then they realized that they had abilities. That's how it started in the first place, because otherwise they wouldn't have been gods. If you have some kind of advanced abilities, immediately that there is some kind of worship, and that goes with ETs and any other visitors that are here during the time of mankind or humankind.
But why so many people? Give me a second. I need to ask you this. Why so many people are making fun from that? I mean, what should happen? What should happen?
Science. They don't think it's scientific.
Okay, but just because something is scientific, it automatically means it's okay? What? It's ridiculous.
I think some people are not qualified to be scientists, because they don't know how to assess things. They're going based off of community acknowledgement, as opposed to dealing with facts. And people have presented artifacts of certain things that they have not acknowledged, because it doesn't fit into the societal norm. They just think that it will be rejected by their peers, which disqualifies them as a legitimate source. You know, Galileo had to stand out and say something. Sir Isaac Newton had to stand out and say something. And we're at that pivotal stage where we need a scientist who is willing to tell the truth and come out and state what it is. That you know, fairies exist, that ET exist, that giants exist, that there were gods that existed, and some of them maybe still have a presence here. That, you know, there's a lot of different things on the earth that we will get to a point where people will start to acknowledge, but we need a nice scientist who is kind of like the wingmakers. They were archaeologists and scientists, right?
Yeah.
The original ones. People lose track of. They think it's a celebrity thing. It's not. It's these were preserving.
This is Jessica. Sites. This is chapter for itself. Why in the world they make it some sort of almost influencing stuff from you know, like let's call it from social media? What the heck is wrong with those people?
Or trying to say that they have ownership on the knowledge, or trying to say that we don't know about it. But you know, Peter, you set the record straight regarding what it is. And you have explained that the information that was out earlier, they weren't criminal, and they just were giving their perspective, but their perspective was not accurate. And no matter how you look at it, it still wasn't accurate.
That's very true. That's very true.
So that's what we're dealing with. And why are we rolling all these topics into one is because we're getting to a point where I think, even though this incident happened with Donald Trump, we have to acknowledge that there are other hands involved in this, and some of them are not necessarily human. That we have our world is being orchestrated in a different way, and if we want change, then we have to acknowledge those who can change it, and that means that understanding that there are powers behind certain things. And like I said, I'm grateful that there's many neighborhoods around this country that are still intact. The cities are in bad shape, and some of them are worse than others, and that has to be corrected.
What do you mean by that? Cities are in bad shape?
The cities in the United States are in very bad shape, very bad. It's overpopulated. It's escalated very much to become very dangerous. It's very toxic. Like, I don't think it's healthy. Many of these scenarios, it's lawless. They don't want to have any type of policing happening in the cities where they need it the most. People coming in with other agendas from other countries, from our own country. People being manipulated. A lot of this stuff is happening within the cities. There are camps and things that are going on out in the country, but
do you know what? Why in the world I am not surprised when once so many people, I mean, friends of mine, I know them for years, and they are saying to me, me, if you want me to live in US, okay, but in a rural area. And I was like, okay, but in a rural area, what the heck you will do? There is no doctor, no clinic. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
It's not that remote here. It's not that remote. So maybe some areas, but you can still be in the country.
Give me a second. I'm just saying, you know. And some of those people told me, like, you know, exactly as you said, it's dangerous. People are all over the place, overcrowded. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, ooh, what? And so many people told me, like, okay, I like Wyoming. And I was like, what? Because there are farms, people are nice. Only only just few people living here and there, not a big deal. I like nice nature. And I was like, you know what? I think I kind of know what you are talking about. You know, they told me about Wyoming, Nebraska, Iowa, something like that. And they like agriculture, you know, and everything, you know. And I was like, interesting. Literally, so many people told me that. Like they like those states because it's only seldom populated settles, you know, settlements, those huge ranches, and there it's some sort of, let's say, basic safety. Everyone knows each other. Do you know what I mean? And so I was like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But give me a second. I need to ask you, as being an American, it is true or not? It is true or not?
It's true. It's true, but you have to find there's a lot of beautiful places in the United States, but you have to find that place that fits you. Like, I don't like to be too far away from the water. I like the water. I don't know why, but maybe it's just a preference for me because I've lived in the Midwest and I miss the ocean. You know.
Ah, okay.
But some people, you know, I liked California an awful lot, but then it got too crazy. And they didn't care about anything, and they let people go into homelessness, and
Yes.
very sad thing they did out
For
there.
example, so many people, I don't know if it is not true or not. I mean, I was there, just by the way, lived for short period of time. So many people like Colorado because of nature.
It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm very sensitive, so whatever they kind of something, there's an energy there. I hear a frequency over there. I couldn't figure out what
Give me
it
a
was,
second.
but-
This is exactly what I want to ask you because you are sensitive. That is it true that, quotes in quotes, nature has, quote in quotes, its own frequency, that if you are more sensitive you can hear it, and you can pretty much, once again, quote in quotes, talk to, I don't know, trees or stones, rocks, and everything, because it's kind of interesting, you know.
everything is living, so I mean, even the rocks are living. And like I did native ceremonies where they get these big stones and they call them the grandfathers. They put them in the fire, and when they would
And
burn them,
give me a second. Do you really believe that this is? I don't want to say I don't believe, or let's say I disrespect that, but do you really believe it actually works?
Yeah,
What
I
you
think
describe.
there's also these crystals. They're called Lemurian crystals, and people call them record keepers because if you put them on your forehead, they say people that are intuitive can get a glimpse of what the experience was for this crystal. So this is, some people will call this like New Age or whatever, but I believe that there is.
Do you know what? I will tell you something. I've got a very good friend of mine. She's super tiny. She's like 5'3". She's less than 100 pounds, aka she's approximately 160 centimeters. She's like 42, 43 kilos, in the weight. And she's total psychic. Like literally, she will go somewhere. Exactly after a few seconds, she literally say this, that, and just by the way, she's a medical doctor. She's
I know what you're talking about.
You know, right? And just by the way, her husband is IT specialist, and he wants, like, okay, if we have AI, why in the world we will not misuse it, but use it for good purpose? And they are developing AI for the latest generation. For, do you know what I mean? extraction, cancers, tumors, and everything. It's so like exciting for me that at least somebody is sane. Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, if you created AI, let's try not to misuse it, but use it. Do you know what I mean? It's such a good combination. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the AI can be very, very invasive, and
But
some people
helpful
are
too.
against.
Give me a second. But helpful too.
It can be helpful too, yeah, but there were people that have contacted me about, getting those injections, and then they get these nanobots in
What?
them,
Give me a
and they
second.
said
I
that
understand, but why in the world are they? Oh man.
they start talking to them, and replicating things and doing some really weird stuff. So that kind of stuff needs to stop, Peter. That is very, very bad.
I
And we need
know.
help with that to help people to get rid of these nanobots that are in their blood, essentially in their system. Because
Yes.
the robot is behaving like a robot in a human body, right?
I
Yeah,
know
it's
you.
very dangerous.
I know you are goddamn right. Oh,
Any solution for something like that? Is there any recommendation for people to
give me
get
a
rid of them?
second. That is pretty much the reason why they are together. Like like as a couple in marriage, that he as a husband has tremendous amounts of data, and she has another knowledge from, let's say, ancient medicine and nature medicine, and they are trying to eliminate all of those stuff. And
Okay.
just by the way, uh, she has scientific grant for that, because she's way too smart enough to make scientific presentation of one of the most world famous and respected university all around the world on US, and she was talking about it, and those people were very happy about it, just by the way, very happy about it. I'm just saying, sorry for that.
We do need a remedy for what they've injected in the people, and we know that was this is Pleiadians doing this, trying to depopulate.
12 Pleiadians, yeah.
Um, yeah. Um, Getting back to, so you feel that we're in good hands with this Stephanie and William, that we're in good hands,
I think in this case, definitely.
and that they're have a handle on certain things. Now, you also said that there's a strong presence from the cartels that are
Oh,
running things in
you
the
are
US,
goddamn right. You are goddamn right. Yeah.
which I've mentioned that before. It is a fact. Um,
Yeah.
because they have the money, and then there was that Carlos Slim, who also was very influential, and they're making certain decisions too that are influencing things. So, but how much power do they have? Could they overthrow what's going on with the government?
Give
Is
me a
that
second.
what their intention?
Those two organizations, you mean?
Yeah, like, would the cartels try to just take over everything and then that's it? Like they have in South America,
You
or
know,
Latin.
there is a question if there will be mutual agreement or not. That's a question.
Something that we have to acknowledge. We can't ignore it. It's here, it's at our doorstep. It's in our cities.
Yeah, but I
So,
will tell you something, Jessica, okay? Once people will uh, use, aka misuse, drugs, if you like it or not, they will be in power. Because if people will not use drugs, cartels will have no business. If you like it or not, that's true. Period. End of discussion.
It is true, and the government has always collaborated with them because it is lucrative.
Oh, very, very lucrative. Goddamn lucrative. You are right.
Do you feel that the Pleiadians are involved as well? Because they've bragged about being connected to marijuana and
I will tell you something. I will tell you something. Definitely yes. Definitely yes.
I agree. So we're still in a battle with the 12D.
But what in the world is wrong with them? Because I will tell you something why 12. Because look, 12 months in the years. Sorry, this needs to be edited. 12 months in 1 year. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And 12 gnomes and Snow White in the fairy tale. Do you know what I mean? Why in the world exactly this?
12 apostles.
Oh, give me a second. Of course, yeah. No, give me a second. Why? Try to guess why. Because of that. Huh?
Their connection with the 12D.
Yes, of course. This is exactly what I'm talking about.
Going forward, Peter, what is your projection of anything that we need to keep an eye on, or just in the world events, anything that you know of? There was some guy that predicted this was going to happen. What are your thoughts?
I think there will be more murder attempts on politicians in upcoming weeks.
In the US or
no, all around the world. All around the world.
Around the world, yeah. This is because of the shadow group.
Definitely. Definitely.
But they don't. They're just giving them warnings and not actually killing them.
They will, let's say, they definitely will try to make murder attempts. Believe me.
Well, with Alan Fonseca, he's such a sharpshooter. He can do that easily if he wanted.
Right? But it was on purpose. Do you know what I mean? Not to do so, like, you know.
And he was in that crowd and nobody noticed him at all.
Just by the way.
But if he could do time space manipulation, right?
Yeah. All right.
No one's going to really believe it unless they actually see it, and maybe in time they'll see it. I don't know. This Thomas Matthew Crooks is working for Lynch, so he's an addition to the shadow group. But you say he's not dead, even though that they showed him as being.
Oh, definitely not.
Yeah. And I've seen his face before. He doesn't look human, to be honest with me.
No,
something
definitely.
about his
Definitely doesn't look. No. You are right.
Do you know where he's from?
Yeah, from Andromeda.
Andromeda?
Yep.
Since when are the Andromedans doing bad things?
No, he's a refugee because pretty much, I don't want to say refugee, he's a criminal in there, and they kicked him out, of course, and he ended up in Butcher Bay, just by the way.
Oh, he was from Butcher Bay.
Yep. Yep.
That's a prison. That's
on
Jupiter. It's on one of Jupiter's moons.
Yeah.
Which moon was that?
No. Directly on Jupiter.
Right. All right. That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's some of the criminals got freed from Butcher Bay. We talked about that.
Oh, forget about that. From Butcher Bay, definitely not. Never.
Didn't you say that Irene released some of them?
Give me a
You said they're
second.
good.
Give me a second. Some of them, they were there because on purpose, okay? On purpose, and they were innocent. That's absolutely
Okay.
different story, okay? But they pretty much them, they were imprisoned because they were guilty. They will never get out. Period. Like never. Okay? Like never.
And you said the Butcher Bay was established around the time of Jesus Christ when he
Pretty
was
much.
here.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple thousand years ago. Are they all immortal? So they just continue living? There's still a lot like
In different life forms, yeah.
yeah. So now we get dealing with their prisoners as well. So if we don't have enough on
perfect,
our end.
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. You can always tell when there's something that happens and everyone's just like, what just happened? You know, it's not natural, right? It just doesn't, even people that are not spiritually aware know there's something weird just happened. Yeah.
Oh, got them right.
So where do we go from here, Peter? Is it you have anything else that you want to share, or
from my point of view, it is fine for today. That's all.
Okay.
So
okay.
I just want to say big thank you, Jessica, for giving me another opportunity to be on your channel, on your show. I want to say thank you to all of our regular and maybe not so regular listeners that they still stick with us till the very end of the show. Thank you for their patience. Stay safe, stay strong, and I'm really looking forward for next time. Hold tight and bye-bye.
Okay, everyone, thank you for listening. And also, I'm glad that we were able to provide some information regarding what happened with the attempted assassination, in addition to some other things that are indirectly related, and also some other pieces of information intertwined. So you get a kind of an open view of what's happening. And hopefully this was helpful to you. But if you have any questions, leave comments below. I'll do my best to answer. And with that said, stay safe. And we're grateful that Donald Trump is safe right now. I believe he has a purpose here. And we're going to see what happens as time moves on. So highest intention for humanity. Have a good day.
You have been watching Disclosures. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Visit www.acio-official.org and www.readingsbyarael.com to book a private session with Jessica. Feel free to support our work. All links can be found in the description. Thank you, and until next time.